Hey, this is Mad Hatter here, and I'm in a new version of Skyblock. I'm calling this one 3.0 because it is vastly improved from the last version. So this was a project that Bud and I worked on together, and it just turns out when you collaborate with people, it goes so much cooler than you would have thought or could have done on your own. So thanks, Bud, for the help. Anyway, the way that this version of Skyblock works is we have these floating random islands around, and they match the biome. This was a really cool idea. They actually spawn with things on it. You have animals, you can get dirt, but also, if you remember my last video on Skyblock, I have implemented many types of game modes on this. So there are things like hardcore, semi-hardcore, ultra-hardcore. You can spawn with items, or you can spawn with a random sapling, or you can do a lot of different things in this version. But really, it's an infinitely generating random version of Skyblock where you can pick your seed, and you can have your structure spawns, and your mob spawners, and everything that you'd have in a normal Minecraft game, just without the blocks. So let's get into how this works. So when you spawn, you're going to get some items if you choose. The items that you'll get are a block of ice, a bucket of lava, an oak sapling or random sapling if you want, and 4 pieces of dirt. If you decide to start in the Nether, it will be Nether resources like nylium and a little bit of bone meal and warped or crimson sapling, and you'll spawn on a random Nether island. When you're playing here, you're going to spawn on a random island. Some of these will have trees on them, some of them won't, so you get your 4 dirt blocks so you guarantee that you can grow a thing. But if I go into creative, you will see as we fly around, there's geodes, there are the monster spawners, there are the mine shafts. Some of the islands have pumpkins or other vegetation on it. Some of the islands are stone and are gravel, depending on if they're in mountains. There are some spruce islands, and there are some normal-ish skyblock islands. There are warm ocean or beach islands. There are dark oak islands. There are desert islands. Some of them have cactus, some of them have water, some of them have dead bushes on it. There's ice islands. There is islands of every type that you can imagine. There's even nether islands of the basalt or other types of varieties. It's a really dynamic way to play Skyblock, and depending on how you have the rules set up, every time you die, it can be completely different. So for instance, if you happen to spawn on this island, you've got to be really careful because there is floating sand, and if you update the wrong block, you might end up in the void. Some of these ones, they have, a little bit of foundation. Some of them, like this one, may be particularly hard to start because you have water to deal with, and you don't want to you don't want to obsidian your lava right away. And it just kind of makes the game a little bit more fresh and different depending on how you start out. Now, one thing is there are villages, and when you're spawning, there's a chance that you just hit a village. Like you could end up when you respawn hitting one of these blocks. So let's get into the game setup and show you how it actually works. We're going to go to create new world. We're going to go to behavior packs, and we're going to go to Skyblock 3.0, hit activate, and hit create. That's it. These items are now in stable. There is nothing that you need to do in experiments. It is just a new world. However, this does take a little bit longer to load. It is a more strenuous way to make Skyblock, so I apologize. There's nothing that we can do until we get more features added to the base game. Now that we're in the world, we get this settings menu. If you close it and you haven't set the settings, it's just going to keep relaunching and annoying you until you actually set the settings. In game styles, we have semi-hardcore. Semi-hardcore means that when you die, you don't respawn at your bed, you don't respawn at the world spawn, you spawn on a random island that the game finds for you for that life. You play the game, all your stuff still stayed where it was at, but you have to get back to your island. Hardcore, if you die, you go to spectator, there's no way back. Ultra hardcore is the same, but when you take damage, you do not recover it, so you've got to be really, really careful. Islands per user, what this is it's kind of like classic Skyblock, but everybody gets their own unique world spawn. So when you load into the world, it will spend some time looking for an island for you. After you find that island, if you die and you don't have a spawn set, you will end up back at your island location. If you die and you do have a spawn set, you will end up at your bed. Classic is one island spawning at 0-0. Your whatever seed that you're on, it'll always be at 0-0. World spawn is set to 0-0, so you spawn there. For saplings, you can choose the type of sapling that you want, or you can choose bamboo, or you can choose random. If you choose random, it will give you one of the saplings above and 4 pieces of dirt so you can continue playing. It will be dirt, not grass, so you will have to eventually find a grassy biome if you want grass spawns. Challenge mode, there's classic and there's nether start, or there is no items. If you pick no items, you get no dirt, no sapling, no lava, and no ice. I'm not sure that this is completable, but it's a challenge that I put in the game in case somebody wants to try to figure it out. And then we have scoreboards. You can choose between a death counter or a kill counter in the pause menu. The death counter will show up in the start menu with all of the players tracking all of their deaths, and the kill counter will check to see if a entity dies due to a player kill. It will show up on the scoreboard. If an entity dies due to fall damage or void damage or whatever, it will not show up on any scoreboard. Scatter max. This tells you how far that the player can go when finding an island, and that is both positive and negative and both X and Z. So if you set it to 3,000, you could get an island at -3,000, -3,000, or +3,000, +3,000. This allows you to set the scale of your world for the server that you're playing on. If you're playing with a couple people, you can set it to a short distance. If you're playing with a lot of people, you can set it to a very long distance. It's not a world border, it's just the area that is searched for players when they're putting a new island out. Random tick speed is one that you can set, and it will increase the speed at which things grow. It will not increase mob spawn rates, but it will let you have less wait time for your trees. Don't go crazy with this, it can freeze your world. I don't put any safeguards on it, and it will depend on your device what you can handle. And then nether roof. I was torn about, should the roof be bedrock? Should it be barrier blocks? What should it be? So I'm letting you pick. If you choose to have a nether roof, then you will get natural gas spawns and other things spawning on the islands. It makes it a little bit more difficult, and it makes it a lot more scary, but more realistic in my opinion. If you turn off the nether roof, the nether will be peaceful until you build a roof, and it will be, you'll be able to build all the way up to 127, just like you would if you voided the world. But this is sort of like an opinion again, so we gave you the setting to use it. You can mix and match any of these settings. They will all work together. You can do any of the modes that you want to do, and it's up to you. My favorite is nether start. So challenge mode, nether start. And then I also really like semi-hardcore, because if you get a bad spawn, you can just jump in the void and have a new spawn without making a new world. I also really like random saplings. This is my favorite way, and I will leave nether roof on for now. You can set this however you want. I hit submit. Now, this didn't take very long at all. That's actually kind of interesting. I was expecting it to take a little while and to bounce me around. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. But this new version of Skyblock, you will never end up just randomly in the void when you're spawning, because I set up the game rules such that it will just keep teleporting you around until it finds an island. In the last version, depending on lag, you sometimes spawned and then you fell below your island and then the island spawned in and you would die. But yeah, this is how this works. Now, you don't get lava or a bucket or ice if you start in the Nether. If you start in the Nether, you just get the access to the woods, and you have to be really careful about how you use your wood. You build out here and you hopefully get enough bone meal to keep on moving. In this case, I would be able to use these fossils after I got a pick to continue bone mealing my nether rack. Now, in these islands, sometimes, oh, there is one there. There's ancient debris. This is not in every island, and you don't always have access to it, but because of the way that the new fill method works, it removed all of the ancient debris from the world, so you have to go around and span out to get to different islands to get your ancient debris to make your netherite, which you can do. There are diamonds in some of the chests, in some of the mine shafts. There's diamonds in the end. There's diamonds in nether fortresses. You just have to go and collect diamonds so you can duplicate the templates that you will find in the bastions, which do exist, so you can actually get your full netherite armor in Skyblock in this version, if you want. I don't know why you'd do that, but you could get it. I think that this is the peak of Skyblock on Bedrock to date. There is very little other than improving lag and efficiency that I would do to improve this. You can also add behavior packs on top of this that do things like change crafting recipes, add mobs, add entities, do a bunch of that sort of stuff. So this is just a base. Also, just because this is the way I do things, this is fully open source and it is issued under the MIT licenses. It is meant for people to be able to use, modify, and contribute to. And if you contribute to this, I would really appreciate it. The link to contribute is in the description of the video, and you can just and the download link, which I will link to both GitHub and to my website, so that way you can find it if you're not comfortable on GitHub. But that is all I really have for you today. I hope that we see some servers pop up with this. I know it's a bit resource heavy. As improvements are made to the behavior pack backend, I will add improvements to this that will make it load better and faster and be less laggy. But for now, this is perfectly usable and playable. And this is Mad Hatter, and I am out. Thank you for watching. Bye.